Jupiter's a sphere.
Yeah. Oh wait, have you seen every angle from Jupiter? We'll go to the Jupiter now.
I believe so. Yeah, but Jupiter.
You
turns
believe
around.
so? Wait a minute. Well, we're gonna go based on belief. How do you know that the Jupiter's a whole sphere?
Jupiter spins. We see Jupiter from
Oh,
every side.
does it spin? So have you seen every angle of Jupiter?
Let me Google. I have to ask Google. Okay.
Oh my god, dude. Why are you Googling on the fly? You should already, if you have these answers in your head, you should already know if you know.
You know the answer, bro. I'm not a physician.
Physician.
Physicist, sorry.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say
not a
physician
physician
is the
either.
wrong field.
He switched careers along the way.
All right, man.
Can we see all sides of Jupiter? Jupiter rotates pretty quickly. Once
Yeah, but you haven't seen. I've asked you how have you seen Jupiter's have you seen Jupiter's rotation?
no, I'm just gonna trust Google this time.
You're gonna trust Google this time? Dude, come on, man.
What about trusting your
but
eyes?
I could check this. I could check this. Like if it was
Yeah,
fake,
but
people
go
would correct
check
it
it,
on the
dude. Because
internet.
go check it because I mean,
Wait.
you haven't done any observation on this. You're just now trusting information. You went from actually making observations with the moon to now just believing Google.
But how do
That's
you
what
To be
check?
fair,
How do
I
you
was
check?
pretty sure on this
How do you
beforehand.
check
I
that
just had to go
Jupiter's
to
a
make sure.
sphere? How do you check that Jupiter's a sphere?
You look at it, spin.
You can only. You can't. What?
He's never seen that. He's admitted that he's never seen that. He has to trust Google on that. That's what he said. So he went from observing the moon that he thought it was a sphere to now saying that he saw Jupiter spin around and he's never seen that. So he's got to trust Google.
Isn't Jupiter the
Who's
one that
ever-
has the storm on it that never leaves?
Yeah.
It does leave. It does.
Yeah,
turn
Oh,
around.
really? Okay. Well, then it's good. We're glad
The
that it's
Earth's
gone.
flat.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah. The Earth's flat, and I'm a shifty dinosaur.
Yeah, but that's just a troll.
So weird. Like it's just
No.
such a strange thing. Well, is it difficult? Like I thought it was just difficult for men because they have like ego, but it's difficult for women too, I guess, to just imagine that you can have a
With a bigger
flat
ego.
surface in reality. Like something can be flat in reality, and you don't have to be a dinosaur to have something flat.
Yeah,
in
but we don't
reality.
engage trolls. Go on, Rui. Oh, he deafened. Shit.
Two birds.
Well, this thing as well, where they say Jupiter's a sphere. No one's ever seen it as a sphere.
Yeah.
Okay, I was actually
ca-
being serious, okay?
No.
No, you're not.
Actually, you're not.
Yes, I am. The Earth is flat. How could you disagree with me?
Because you
You don't.
don't sound like you're.
Because
coming
it
in and-
literally is.
Relax, dude. Like, what's up with that? It literally is. Nope.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, the Earth's flat, but I don't know what the heck her thing was about. Something. I'm a dinosaur. That sounds very trollish.
Shifty.
No,
Was
that
a
is the
shifty
truth.
dinosaur.
You know, that's a real thing.
So you
What?
identify as a dinosaur?
Shifty
No, I
dinosaur.
don't identify as a dinosaur. I just know that there's a difference between your monkey brain and, your other
Monkey
brain.
brain.
All right. Well, there's derogatory terms
Okay,
being thrown around.
Yep, you just sold yourself out, sister.
Do you know the
What do
Earth's a
you mean?
globe? 755.
No, the Earth is fucking flat.
Now we know that you don't believe that.
Yeah, we
know
all.
that.
No, I do believe that shit. The
No, you
Earth is
don't.
fucking flat.
Okay, so tell us how it's flat.
Okay, you're so
Evidence.
aggressive.
How is
Okay.
it flat?
No, I'm not even gonna listen to poor people right now, okay? My grandfather profited from the 2008 recession. Everything I know is because of him. So if
Great.
I know
Okay.
anything,
Okay.
I'm gonna believe my whole inner circle before I believe you people.
Okay.
Good.
that's
Well,
fine.
I'm not.
Decisions by
You're
yourself,
kind of
though.
Hey,
From-
seven
kinda
five five.
coming
Are
off
you
very
having a good day today?
Obviously
Yeah.
not.
$500 to turn on your camera and dance around.
Good. $500. Like,
Yeah,
why
would
do
you
you?
dump a whole entire thing of milk on your head and I
Huh?
don't know,
What?
slit your wrist?
No. What?
You're a
No.
fucking weirdo, man.
Yeah, you
what
can't say
the
that.
fuck is going on?
Yeah, you
Dude,
can't
that's
say that. Wait a minute. Time
might
out.
be wrong, but she's
Yeah,
my
wait a
kind of
minute.
girl.
Time out. You can't say that on the internet, and you should be banned from here for saying that. She just said, suicide term. You can't do that. No matter where you are, in whatever form you are, you need to understand there's boundaries. You can't say those things.
Very distasteful, yeah.
Yeah, you just said something that you can't speak of.
Yeah.
No one
And
can.
what is it? I
It's not
want to
very
see
civil.
I want to see the relevance between her grandfather making money during the recession and him knowing the Earth is a globe.
No, dude. She just
And,
said that
and
you
what
could.
she? What would I do
Hold
with the
on, guys.
$500 if I then committed suicide? Like,
No, that's not. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to. I didn't want to repeat that, but that she said something that way. So let's just.
Yeah, you
These
don't
people
know
get
the state of someone who is listening.
Yeah, some
Like,
people
people get-
actually struggle.
It could actually be triggering. Yeah.
People actually struggle with that seriously, and you're joking around about it. It's not a laughing matter. Just saying.
people get fucking weirder and weirder. Imagine trying to have a conversation with these people in real life. Like, you meet them at a footy game or something like that, and they start saying, my grandfather earned money when people weren't earning money. So he knows more than everyone else.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people make money during recessions.
Yeah, of course they do.
I made a ton of money. I didn't have to really even change much. Just take advantage of the situation.
NASA made money.
They make money whether there's a recession or not. Because Velcro is so important.
I'm heading out. Have a great day, guys. Peace.
Catch you later.
Bye bye.
$11 trillion. What is this? Did you verify? What is this? Verified by multiple countries. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's way funny.
If nothing else, it should make people curious on why they get angry, right? Like why they get passionate and angry over a belief that they hold but have never seen to be the case. I've seen a lot of movies and stuff, and I like fantasy, I like whatever superpower people and things like that. It's pretty cool, but yeah, I've never experienced the Earth to be moving at a consistent rate, right? So I go to the store like the Earth's not moving, like my car is moving, not a big deal. I swim in a lake. I go to the other side of the lake as if it's the same height. Like, I'm going to get out, get a towel, dry off, but it's at the same height as the other side of the lake. I don't think that I'm way lower, on one side of the lake than the other. Nobody
I
does
mean,
that. So why
but
get
there's-
angry?
You forgot there's a plot hole in your story.
What?
How did you drive to the lake, then swim across it, and then drive off again? Like, how did the car get to the other side?
I didn't. You go to one side, you swim over, you swim back.
Oh, you swim back. Okay.
Yeah, but you don't treat the lake as if it's tilted, right? Like as if one side of the lake, if it's a 1 mile lake and you're rowing across it, that your boat is, you're tilted, 8 inches lower on the other side and 8 inches higher on the starting side.
Are you saying that you can't walk around a lake?
I didn't say that. I said when you go across a 1 mile distance, I don't know who here treats the Earth as if it's tilted and you're dropping over distance, as if the lake would be 8 inches lower on one side, but then you're standing on that side that you started on, right? You start on one side, you go to the other side, it's 8 inches lower, right? But now you look over back to where you began, and now that's 8 inches lower. I don't know who operates on that in that kind of a world. So why are people like Ruhend or 78995 or why do they get angry and passionate about something they don't even believe occurs?
It's not even their argument either.
I mean, I'm not that angry. I'm not. I'm a little angry, okay, but I'm not furious.
Why do you
If
get
I mix you two together, you're medium angry. You two, or
do you
plus
get-
you.
why do you get medium angry about something that's not even your claim?
Mm,
Or
I mean, like,
It's not
passionate,
your.
or even
It's
considerate.
not
Like,
your idea. Like you didn't come up with this idea that the Earth's a globe.
look, if someone asks me how my phone screen works, I'm gonna tell him how the fucking phone screen works, but it's not my idea.
How does it
right?
work? Yeah.
Hmm?
But that's got nothing to do with the topic at hand.
There's just concepts about the world that you understand, and then you,
Okay, so the Earth being a sphere is a concept.
yeah, it's like just basic knowledge that you understand, and then you
It's
go
not
off of it.
basic knowledge because you demonstrated that you didn't understand it.
that's actually another interesting thing. So for one of the guys who are like borderline sophists and say the only thing that they know with 100% certainty is that they don't know anything, especially someone with that
How do you-
mindset, how do you fight for this idea that you've
Well, how
never
do you know 100% that you don't know if you don't know anything?
Yeah, true.
Don't worry about the contradictions in your like philosophy there that Kant put forward or whatever, right? Right, but if you have that philosophy, that mindset, that worldview that you can't know anything, how does like I wish I could jump into your mind for a minute. Like, how do you grasp onto this thing that you've never experienced, but it must be the case? This rotating, tilted, wobbly Earth.
I do something that's called combining observations. Like I see one thing, I see another thing, and I conclude, oh, that means this is true.
All right, let's start from the start then.
So
First observation.
Truth does exist.
We're
then.
not gonna get through the topics. Like we're just gonna get caught in one topic.
All right. Well, the topic
Yeah,
of
but
truth
that's the way
existing.
you work. That's the way you do a conversation, isn't it? You start with a topic and then you go move to other topics.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but it's hard. It's hard to convey you of anything.
What's
Yeah, it's kind of
what's your first observation then?
Clay, what did you say?
No, what's your first observation then?
My first observation. Yeah, I mean you laugh at this, but looking at the sky actually is pretty fun. I used to do that a lot.
Okay, now relate that to the sphere.
You see the sky rotate.
You see the sky move, therefore you're moving.
It doesn't just move; it rotates. Right.
Rotates?
Mm.
You've seen a rotation?
And in the rotating sky, you see rotating spheres.
Wait,
Right.
no, you're
So that's a
adding
good
in
hint.
the word rotating. So, have you seen it rotate?
Yes, per definition, it rotates around the North Star.
So you have seen. Oh, okay. So you look up and you've seen a circle in the sky.
I mean, you'll have to wait to see its turn. You don't see the clock
Well, yeah,
rotate.
you gotta wait.
You have to
You
wait
gotta
for
wait
it to change.
You gotta wait 24 hours, don't you?
I mean, you only have nighttime. You can wait 6 hours.
Exactly. So you haven't seen it rotate.
You can see it. You can see it rotate like 1/3.
But that's not a rotate. That's an arc.
It arcs around one rotational point, and that is the North Star.
Well, you can't say rotation.
Well, I'm not sure if that's true what you're claiming. I think you can call it a rotation.
Well, you can call it whatever you want, but what it is different from what you call it. I'm still waiting to see how that makes the Earth curved.
He's still a flat earther. That's exactly like what flat earthers say. He's still a flat earther to me at least.
For you, I'm anything
Right,
you want. Okay, that sounded.
you
I
look
didn't
at the
mean want this
stars.
to.
Right,
It
you look
wasn't
at the
meant weird.
stars moving. You look at the stars moving, and that measures the Earth curve.
No. I was not
Huh?
talking about measuring Earth curve. I was just the idea, like the concept of Earth maybe being a sphere, is a culmination of many observations, right?
Yeah. So we've got the sky moving,
The sky rotating,
but we're okay. You've never
and
seen a rotation.
in the sky, you can observe spheres that rotate themselves.
No, you can't observe spheres.
Well, now we're back to the stone that's being thrown at your face. You cannot feel the stone flying towards your face, but you know you have to dodge it because it's getting bigger. You see something and you know
Okay.
it's
So
true, even though
what
you
in
don't
the
feel it.
sky? So what in the sky is coming towards you that you have to move?
Well, there's different things you can observe about objects than their movement. You can see their shadows, you can see if they rotate, right?
Okay. So you don't see anything as a sphere.
Yes, I do.
You're like a very mystical speaker. Like nothing. Like you still haven't really put anything forward on this Earth's a globe idea. You just kind of say, well, if we see things and we see shadows of things, and then that's really where you stopped.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't arrived at Earth being a sphere yet. We're still like on point 2
Yeah, you
of
haven't.
an entire list of
You
observations we
fixated
can
on
make.
talking about other things apart from the Earth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty interesting hint. You look at the sky and you see spheres flying very far
You
away,
don't
possibly
see
from Earth.
spheres flying.
Hmm?
You don't see spheres flying.
You don't?
No, you don't. You have a pre-assumed image that has been reaffirmed by CGI imagery and blockbuster movies. That's the problem you have. You need to separate what was being programmed into your mind. Same with the second opposite side that is being assumed about the moon, which you have never seen, but which have been subconsciously been introduced into your mind by framing it through CGI imagery. But you yourself have never verified or confirmed that that other side actually exists. You just have been shown a sphere that you in reality have never observed. Same with every other celestial body that is supposedly up there. It is just a reaffirmation process introduced by practically programming your mind on CGI imagery. So every time you just look in the sky, you see the CGI images you have been shown previously, and then you're gonna automatically connect both of those things together and make your conclusion, which is fallacious in itself. And you need to get out of it and separate these two things and just accept and see what you actually see instead of connecting it with a false paradigm or false images.
I did talk about this with Alpha Veritas, and I admitted, possibly the moon is half a sphere. I don't know. I have not seen the other half. Maybe the moon is just half a sphere. And he admitted, yeah, it's probably he admitted that at least half a sphere is there, right? Because he can see it. We can see half a sphere.
We don't even know if it's a physical.
The craters.
Yeah, we don't even know if it's a physical phenomena or a physical thing.
Okay. He didn't say. He didn't say that it is half a sphere. He didn't say that it is half a sphere. He said it could be.
Isn't this like a brain in jar kind of argument to say, okay, we can observe things, but maybe they're not real?
No, it's just intellectually honest. That's all. If you're intellectually honest, you're gonna accept what reality represents itself to be to you. If you're intellectually easily to manipulate, which then goes into actually you being formed into not an intellectual person, is if you accept blindly what has been given to you through CGI imagery and a reaffirming process of things which you have never seen in reality but have been connected within your brain
to be aligned to something which in the first place you couldn't have verified. So this is the difference. If you're intellectually honest, you will say, okay, you know what, this is true. I have been indoctrinated and shown imagery that are supposed to be some kind of spherical planets, even though they don't align with what is actually within my limitations of observation, right? It's in a nutshell the same thing with the Earth itself. You have been shown a blue planet, which is a composite, and you have automatically reaffirmed in your mind, okay, therefore this picture, therefore this Earth. You know, this is the problem. You need to deprogram your mind, which is a hard thing. I can understand that people get easily caught up in this.
Even if the moon was a sphere, so what?
Flat Earth Wikipedia says that the moon is a sphere.
Flat Earth Wikipedia. So
you have your I don't know. Flat Earth community has their own Wikipedia.
Not my Wikipedia. But even if the moon was a sphere, so what?
Yeah, I mean, this was just the second observation. It's kind of weird that we have spheres all over the sky. Right.
Spheres? No, we're saying, okay, even if the moon was a sphere, you don't see any other spheres, but how does that relate to the Earth's curvature?
Well, if you concede to the logic of the moon being a sphere due to what you can see, the same logic applies to the Jupiter and Saturn, right? Mars,
no, that's not logical. That's not logical at all.
Bro, have you understood what I said prior to you reintroducing something that has never been confirmed?
You said two things at the same time. You said, first of all, I imagine things in the sky because I saw videos and Hollywood. And then you said, maybe the sky is just one big CGI. It's hard to take serious.
No, there is
no one said that.
No, that's not what I said. See, you misunderstood me. So maybe I need to make it more simplified. You are automatically, listen, you reaffirm a constructed paradigm onto something very simple. So let's say I'm going to give it an example because this is the easiest way to explain it. I see one side of the moon, or I see a tiny bit of it, depending on its eclipsed phase, right? Sometimes it can be half moon, it can be full moon, whatever. But we see just one side always, right? Now, what would be the fallacious thing to do if I only see what I see? I then go, well, there is this government agency and some other government agencies. They have shown me that the moon actually has an opposite side, and they have shown me these images in supposed space, or these composite imagery that shows that the moon can be a spinning rock that is three-dimensional and is a sphere.
Talk about what
and this is the fallacious. Right? See, this is the issue. You cannot say that the moon is something, if that what you try to reaffirm is something you cannot confirm in the same instance. Do you get that?
Just based on what we can see. Let's just stick to what we can see. We can see one half of the moon. And by the way, my brain, this has nothing to do with CGI movies manipulating or indoctrinating me. The way your brain works, you identify the shape of 3D objects by the shadows on them. I sent a picture in chat. All of these shapes look three-dimensional to you because the shadows are placed correctly.
You're still not answering, because I told you, even if the moon was a sphere, so what? So you're still arguing about the moon being a sphere, but
yeah, look,
I cannot,
okay,
if the moon's a sphere,
I can't talk to Clay and you at the same time.
That makes the Earth a sphere. Like, how does that work?
Yeah, even if the moon is the supposed reaffirmation that you're trying to claim, it still is a vain idea or vain discussion in the first place in perspective to the ground you're standing on, which is just, in a nutshell, what it's all about. It's all about the very surface we all live upon. Is all that sea level, horizontal water curving around a supposed 360 degrees of bendy ground Or is that 360 degrees in every direction, bendy ground not in existence, and we are just on a topographical plane, just like in a video game?
Yeah. Okay, we can move on. Clay, what do you think gravity
Don't
is?
worry. Yeah, I just want to point out one last thing. Like, not that you have to answer it, but like some people would say, like, maybe is it wise to say, well, this looks like this, so then everything is this? Is that like the lazy way to do it, or is that really the smart, like really intricate way to do it? Is to say, well, there's a sphere in the sky, so I'm a sphere. Like, what's the I hear somebody saying, well, that's logical, that's reasonable to say that I am the mirror, I am the light, I am the door. I just don't know if that's a lazy way of going about it, or if that's really well thought out.
I'm not sure I got what you were trying to say, but I said from the beginning on I was going to list observations that if you put them all together, if you see them in a context, you'll understand that Earth is most likely a sphere. Not one single observation is going to be the ultimate proof.
Okay, so it's kind of the lazy way.
So the second one, so we can throw out the moon, because you agree that even if the moon is a sphere, then it doesn't make the Earth flat. Great. So what's the second one?
No, the first one was the spinning sky, right?
Okay, yep. So spinning sky doesn't make the Earth a sphere, and moon spherical doesn't make the Earth a sphere. So the third one?
Yeah, and then I try to talk to you about the logical conclusion that if we accept that moon is a sphere,
logic doesn't make the Earth a sphere either. So what's the fourth one?
No, we're on number 2.
Is logic an observation or what?
No, look, you see the moon, you see the shadow on the moon, you see other things like the slight rotation, right? You can look at the moon. Yeah,
great. We just agreed, didn't we? Just agree that the moon doesn't make the Earth a sphere.
I wasn't going to make a point on that.
So we're going to get stuck on that, or what?
It seems like some kind of I don't know, pseudo intellectual.
Like 10 minutes ago, I tried to make the point that if you apply the logic to the moon, you see something on the moon like the shadow, and you think to yourself, okay, most likely the moon is a sphere from what I can see, right? If you apply that logic to the planets are spheres too.
Okay, so what makes Earth a planet?
I just mean the things you can see in the sky, not the Earth.
Yeah, I know, but you're saying because spheres in the sky, then Earth is a planet.
Well, also, just 2 minutes ago, I said not one single observation is going to prove that Earth is a sphere.
So we've got to work out this planet thing first, because you're claiming that if these things in the sky, then Earth is a planet. So what similarities does Earth have to all these things that you claim are spheres?
Yeah, there's zero correlation.
So, I mean, we can go back to the spinning sky, right?
No, we can't.
You can.
Now we're stuck. Now we're stuck on things in the sky being spheres, relating it to the Earth, because you haven't shown us that Earth is one of these planets or anything similar to it.
Yeah, but you're trying to pin me down on one point.
I'm not trying to pin you down. You brought up logic. I'm asking you a logical question. How do these things that you claim are spheres in the sky make the Earth a sphere?
I told you it's not going to do that.
It's not going to do that. So all right. So we're going to throw your logical argument out the window as well.
I mean, you throw out your window whatever you want. I don't have any power over that.
So far, we've got 4 thrown out the window.
No, you throw your own stuff out your window, please, not me.
Okay, so we'll go back. So first one was rotating sky. So rotating sky proves the Earth's a sphere?
Not by itself. I mean, you could actually. Okay. You could.
And then we've got moon. Moon being a sphere proves the Earth is a sphere.
Well, yeah, it's kind of suspicious that there's objects in the sky flying around, all like spherical. Right.
And then your third one was a logical argument. If there are spheres in the sky, then the Earth is a sphere.
I wasn't finished yet.
Yeah, but I'm just going. You're the one taking me through these arguments, and so far you haven't proved anything that the Earth is a sphere.
At this point, I'm not allowed to do anything.
You don't have any relation from these things that you're pointing out to the Earth being a planet or a spherical object.
It sounds like what a caveman would come up with. Like a caveman would come up with the same idea. Like, are you a caveman? Because this is what a caveman can make the same argument. They could go ooga booga, circle sky, me circle ground.
Exactly.
Logic.
Like it's very simple. Fucking caveman would do this.
Yeah, so I'm asking. So is that it? Is that the whole? So easy a caveman could do it. We're done. That proves it.
Are you suggesting you're mentally below a caveman?
Yeah. I mean, maybe. Is this all that has to be done to prove it?
Okay.
So ooga booga, circle in sky, ground circle.
I was going to continue, right?
That can't be it.
Yeah. So number 5 is?
I mean, look, I said, the first thing I said was, we can collect multiple observations and then combine them.
What we do is we join all these things that don't relate to the surface being
you were like, okay, fine, take us on the journey. Yeah. And now I'm trying to, and I also, I said in the beginning, we're gonna.
So you're gonna join all these things that don't prove the Earth's a sphere together and somehow prove a sphere.
Well, okay, I'm gonna make the next point. This one actually is a proof.
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. Why don't you use that first?
The rotation of the skies, right, that we talked about before. If you're on the northern hemisphere, it spins one direction, and if you're on the southern hemisphere, it spins in the other direction.
So we've got 2 directions.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Is that east to west, clockwise?
Now, if you have a plane, and above that plane you have some sort of, how do you call it? The sky,
so
right?
I'm going to stand on the equator. I'm going to face north, right?
If above a plane, you have the sky kind of rotating. It's not going to have 2 points of rotation. It's going to have 1 point of rotation.
Well, it depends, because you don't know what's going on in the sky. So we've already said that. All right. So you go.
I can see the rotation of the sky. I can see the rotation
from the equator, and you face.
Why is the sun up right now in the United States, but it's not up right now in China?
Well, it's up in. Please,
it just came up in Australia. So what?
Yeah. So answer the question. Why is it up right now in the United States, but it's not up right now in China?
Because it's
if the Earth was flat, it would be up everywhere throughout the entire Earth at all points in time, and down at all points in time.
There's no reason why it would.
Well, it's flat, right? And so if it's above the flat surface, you would see it, and if it's below the flat surface, you would.
All right. So back to you, dude, because that guy's retarded.
Oh, I think that maybe he might be a better conversationalist than Ruverend.
Yeah, because you got to admit, right? You're going to face north. You're going to be on the equator. You're going to face north. You're going to see a counterclockwise rotation, as you call it. Right? And then you're going to turn around. You're going to face south, and you're going to see a clockwise rotation. I think I've got that right. And then, but each time you look, the stars are actually just going east to west, so they're just going over the top of you. So they're not going in different directions. You're just facing a different way.
Yeah, he went on deafened as soon as Trump jumped in.
Yeah. Should we unmute Trump, or is he gone?
No, he's gone.
All right. So let's combine together all the points that don't make the Earth a sphere and make it a sphere.
is everywhere, I must be a tree.
Yeah.
Observe.
Look up.
I observe trees.
I observe birds. We must be on a bird.
Like that kid who likes turtles. Suddenly.
Guess we're living on clouds, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Was that the Trump guy that just came in and asked a question randomly while you guys were talking?
Yeah.
Look at side chat. He says, "Want to talk about rudeness?" ? Laughing my ass off. Not understanding context. Walking in. When two people are having a conversation, like the door is open for him to get some tea and start asking his questions. And then you talk about rudeness.
I think they think this channel is like the other channels on this server, where everyone just yells over the top of each other.
But he has the audacity to call somebody else rude after pulling that off. He will probably go to another server and be like, "Yeah, I talked to Flat Earthers and they instantly muted me." Not realizing what he was doing. Like, what? Just shows how ignorant they are, man.
Well, especially asking a question that no one observes. Like, okay, why isn't it daylight all the time? Okay, well, do you see it be daylight all the time? So why would you ask something that never happens and expect an answer on something that never happens? That's fucking strange.
I guess he was just thinking about, like, if the Earth were flat and the sun were above the disk of flat Earth, then it would be daylight all the time. Being that it's not daylight all the time.
Yeah, if the sun were the size that it were,
of the flat
Earth. The size that it were claimed with a.
No, go ahead, like,
Well,
I don't know if he's saying words.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was interrupting. Timbo, I wanted to say something about your approach when I don't know what the other guy's name was, the guy with the.
It wasn't really Timbo's approach. It was the other guy's approach. He came in, he yelled it,
your approach
and then he left.
Oh no, not the rude guy, that just came in and burst in the middle of the conversation. No, not him. The guy who was presenting these different pieces of evidence, and each piece of evidence by itself does not prove the Earth is a globe.
Okay, so you add all pieces of evidence that don't prove the Earth's a globe together, and somehow you get a globe.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. Take all these pieces of evidence that support a globe, and especially do not support a flat Earth, and then you pile that.
In what way?
Make that pile of evidence high enough. And
in what way don't they support a flat Earth?
Oh, we'll just we'll just take one. I don't know. Pick one thing that he said, and maybe it doesn't. Okay. Well, let's pick one that has nothing to say about the flat Earth. The fact that when we look at the sky, we see spherical objects. So the moon appears spherical, Venus appears spherical.
Why are you saying
we gave him. I just gave him that just to get past the point because he was stuck on. Okay, I see spheres, but we don't actually see spheres. You just see circles.
Well, if you look very carefully
that's
at the
why I just wanted to move the conversation along because it appears to be one, but there's no determination saying that it is a sphere.
Sure, but if you had two choices, the moon is not a sphere versus the moon is a sphere, the evidence is on the side that it's a sphere. It's not a guarantee, but the evidence is on that side. Right?
Okay.
And then you can go look for other evidence.
Like?
You can't just throw out that evidence and say, oh, well, that doesn't prove the Earth is a globe. No, it's a piece of evidence that is in support of a spherical moon.
right?
Okay.
We also have evidence in a spherical Venus.
So how does a spherical moon prove the Earth is a globe?
It does not. It does not.
So that's why you're critiquing my approach when.
Well, okay. Let me just shift to talk about like a courtroom where you've got somebody who's accused of a crime, and we have like a fingerprint. We have a receipt for a gun. We have a license plate.
So
we have
that fingerprint.
Person
That fingerprint would prove that fingerprint is that person's fingerprint. Yeah.
But it does not prove he committed the murder. Right?
Of course not.
One fingerprint doesn't prove murder, right? A receipt on a gun does not prove murder. A license plate does not prove murder. But you put them all together.
Relate those analogies.
Make a picture.
Relate those analogies to the spherical Earth.
Okay, so what I'm saying is what he was trying to do was give you pieces of evidence that if you bring them in totality, it makes a picture, and that picture is a spherical Earth. Now, each one of those pieces of evidence
what you've been given.
I'm sorry?
Well, you need to clarify those singularities before you put them into a ball of proof.
Yeah, it's just a preponderance of evidence.
So
I go with the evidence.
So saying 100 different things or believing stuff makes that evidence for you. So I believe this is this way, therefore it is because you're one guy.
No.
Because you've given me 100 I believes, then you got to believe it as well.
No belief. You speculate about reality, you call it fundamental, and then base other premises upon that. You haven't even tested it by first prime experience on the first case. So how can you call it an absolute in the first case? He says he looks up and he says the ball is spinning. How does he know that?
Right.
He
what
just
are you comparing
assumes.
to say this is ball guaranteed versus anything else? Like you guys, it doesn't make no fucking sense, man.
Yeah.
So.
Like listening to Harry Potter 5, bro. Like this is just speculation in my. The point that he was trying to make, and the phrase that he kept using was, "These are observations." He did not say beliefs.
Charles, cavemen made those observations. He said a caveman made those observations. Are you a caveman also? And how do these caveman observations saying "ooga booga"? There's a circle in the sky. How does that change the fact that a water level is a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference? How does ooga booga change?
Right. How does that make you a sun or a moon or a Venus or a Mars? We got trees and grass and water and atmosphere. We got all kinds of cool shit that none of the other stuff in space has. So ooga booga, that wouldn't make no damn sense.
So, but the irony here is that many flat earthers are that way because they look at water and water appears flat.
No, you measure it.
Where do you see space water?
You measure it.
Where do you look up in ooga booga water?
Per mile drop.
Where do you see water up in the air out in space?
I'm just talking about like a standing body of water, right?
Still all right, water. So you're saying
where do you see it on Earth? I know, but hold on. So when we're cavemen, yeah.
I'm not going to talk about the caveman analogy. I don't know where he was going with that.
Well, Eratosthenes was a caveman. A guy with a stick. He's like, I see stick, shadow, ball.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Oh, according to that guy's analogy, yeah.
The guy didn't even have pants on. And that was the guy you're supporting.
Analogy.
Yeah, the guy you're supporting. You're saying, hey, he was making a good analogy about how a caveman can look at the sky. Oh. Right? That was you're supporting the caveman idea that you can point at the sky, right? But then a water level is still a tool for establishing a horizontal plane of reference. And if you're saying that the water drops away from the water that you use to measure and reference from, that sounds absurd.
So a water level is a tool. What's a length?
And you're saying that the water level below the water level drops exponentially away from the water level? You measure that?
How long of a water level?
As long as you need it to be.
Give me a length.
What the fuck is that?
It's an angel.
What do you call a quick mute?
I mean, I teach high school, and like adolescent boys can be very challenging.
Anyway, water level is
actually said something. You actually said something interesting. You said when we measure it, we measure 8 inches per mile squared. Can you show me that?
Yeah. The theodolite. If you shoot a theodolite over a body of water, and then you have a station on the other side,
you get 8 inches per mile squared. Can you show me that?
Well, I've seen an observation where it was a clean 8-inch. It was a 1 mile observation. It was exactly a 1 mile observation.
Yeah, can you show me that?
Theodolites pointing at each other. It's a YouTube channel. I'd have to look it up. But it did. You were able to observe an 8-inch drop in 1 mile of still water.
So no refraction. Or was that with refraction?
1 mile, you're not going to get too much refraction. Refraction is measured in tiny fractions of an inch.
How do you quantify that?
With degrees, tiny fractions of a degree. Refraction is usually.
How do you quantify that?
I'll clarify your question because I don't appear to answer.
How do you quantify how much refraction there was?
What do you mean by that?
Do you know what quantify is?
Sure. Using numbers, and I just gave you numbers, fractions of a degree.
How do you quantify how much refraction there was?
No, we just did.
Because if you're saying
degrees and inches.
Because if you're saying you're saying that they measured 8 inches per mile squared, and you're saying there was no refraction that day.
I never said that. I said refraction is fractions of a degree, tiny fractions of a degree.
How much?
That's over.
How much on that day?
This is an interesting approach in that I'm giving you an observation, and
you haven't given me anything yet.
You're going to nitpick whether the observation was perfect. No, was the observation perfect? No. But you said that it was never measured.
Anything yet?
And I said, so, Bo, frequently,
you've just said someone measured 8 inches over a mile, and then you. What? Say that again.
Frequently, Glovers are accused of invoking refraction. And now I'm going to accuse you of invoking refraction to negate this observation. It was just an observation of 8 inches. That's all it was.
Okay, so you're saying there's no refraction.
I never said that. You're just making that up.
So it's not. So the measurement's not 8 inches then.
There might have been an error associated with it, but
how much?
The point is, you said it was never measured. I'm giving you an observation.
You haven't given me anything.
The observation was not perfect. Sure.
You haven't given me anything.
Well, let's forget about refraction.
What's going on here? Charles, are you claiming that there was somebody had 1 point, like I don't know, maybe on a lake, a 1 mile lake, and then it was sloping in a downward from one direction to another. It was sloping to be 8 inches lower on the other side.
There's no
1 for 1. They saw that no refraction. With no refraction that day. So what are you doing? Hold on. You said you want to eliminate refraction. Now we're saying, did you get it without it? Now you're saying you never said that. Stop double speaking.
I never said eliminate refraction. I said it's ironic that when Glovers mention refraction, we get criticized.
We don't care what you're saying right now. Word salad. Word soup. What kind of refraction or non-refraction? Like the refraction that you speak of, you don't want nothing to do with that, right? So you're measuring Earth only. Okay, this is cool. Go ahead. I'm learning more.
So the greatest refraction we've ever observed is a 0.5 degree over through 100 miles of atmosphere.
No, you don't know that. You don't know that.
Like you could observe it with the sunset. You can observe.
No, you don't know that.
The measurements of refraction in air, like what's it look like? When have you done it?
You could look it up. Refraction is very, very heavily studied.
No, you don't look up something that you're looking outside to see. That's not in a book. You look outside. Now, when do we see it outside? Not in a book, buddy.
If you've got a topic that has been studied by experts, it might be nice to
Well, show it. It might be nice to show it too that it's a real thing, Snuffleupagus.
Right. So is refraction not a thing now? Because it sounded like
show
you
us
said
where
it was.
it's at. Show us like you can duck down behind a hill, a 10-foot hill. You go duck behind a dirt fucking hill or a swimming pool, and have your buddy refract you up somehow. Well, wait.
Okay, so refraction doesn't exist.
Hey,
it seems like you're arguing two opposite simultaneous points.
Natural refraction.
Yeah, you're arguing two things because you're saying you got an observation of 8 inches over a mile with no refraction, and then you're saying
I never
refraction.
said no refraction. This is like the 10th time I've corrected you.
So how did you get?
I've never said no refraction.
If there was no refraction.
I never said no refraction. I said if you had refraction, it would make the observation less perfect. Maybe it would be 7.5 inches. Maybe it would be 9 inches.
Based on what?
Right?
What the fuck does that mean? A perfect blue, a less perfect? You're just saying stupid shit, dude. Perfect.
I'm saying that refraction adds a degree of error to a long distance observation over water through experience. Are you familiar with the Skunk Bay time lapse? Right?
Yes.
You know the Skunk Bay time lapse?
Yeah. How do you measure that?
Well, the Skunk Bay time lapse, that would be very hard to measure. But one way of measuring
what
long
the fuck are you bringing into evidence for?
Is one way would be to observe the setting sun, and you see the sun moving
How are you
mathematically
measuring it?
very uniformly until it gets right at the horizon where the bottom of the sun may squash down a bit.
Where the hell's the horizon?
You may have about 0.5 degree of refraction through 100 miles of atmosphere.
What about when it doesn't do that, though?
Then you have less refraction.
How do you know that?
The point is, you can quantify refraction, the most extreme
You can't
refraction.
quantify refraction. The only way that you can quantify refraction is you have a globe of a certain size and you say, we should see this. And then you say, but we see this. So you come up with an equation of what you actually see and you say there must be this much refraction because the globe is this size.
It has nothing to do with the globe.
Okay, it's got now the 8 inches that you observed over the mile has nothing to do with the globe.
No, you're now making things up again. I said you.
I didn't make anything up. That's what you said. You said you see curvature of 8 inches over a mile, right? And then you're saying refraction exists, but in this case it doesn't exist.
No, I said refraction adds an element of error.
Okay, what's the error
really
in
funny.
8 inches?
You make up a whole lot of stuff. When I said you can quantify refraction,
what did I make
you can
up?
observe the setting sun.
What did I make up?
Well, what you made up was when I said that quantifying refraction does not require a globe. You said, oh, well, then you're going to get rid of 8 inches per mile squared, which is not what I said at all. I said quantifying refraction does not require a globe. All right.
Okay, so how are you going to measure refraction without a globe?
Okay, I'm going to repeat myself. By carefully observing a sunset, like with
what distance is the horizon at when you're observing the sunset?
It has nothing to do with the distance to the horizon. I'm talking about
measure it
carefully. It would be helpful if you would stop interrupting when I was in a sentence. If you carefully observe a sun. He interrupts me mid-sentence. You guys are funny. If you carefully observe a sunset and you see the sun is moving in a uniform fashion where it's like, we'll call it 15 degrees per hour, whatever, then when it gets near the horizon, it will appear to start slowing down and getting squashed at the bottom.
Appear or will?
If you analyze the photographs that you've taken, because you're taking careful observations, so you've got your P900 or whatever, if you analyze your photographs, you will determine that it was 0.5 degree of refraction that caused this sun, that was circular looking sun, to look squashed at the bottom.
Okay, how do you get that 0.5 degree of refraction without the globe? Go ahead.
No, you don't need the globe. You're just taking an observation at the beach over water.
And how do you know there's a degree of refraction then? 0.5 degree of refraction?
Because the sun is 0.5 degree in angular size, which is another thing you can do from careful observation, not requiring a globe. So you can
Alright,
measure
so-
the angular size of something, right? And you can see that thing, which was moving very uniformly before it reached the horizon, you can time its rate of passage through your camera frame, and you could just do the math with your you pixel counting, and you will.
So you do the math. It moves at 50. So it moves at 15 degrees, and then it gets to the horizon, and it doesn't move at 15 degrees. So therefore, what?
Well, if you make the careful measurements, it's not 15 or not 15. It's exactly what is happening using a geometric analysis of your imagery. You could determine that the sun, when the top of the sun finally goes below the horizon, we call that sunset, when we can no longer see the sun.
What about when it doesn't?
You can figure out that was like it should have happened a half a degree earlier.
Okay, in the desert, I've seen the sun. In the desert, I've seen the sun move away and not set, and then just occlude. So what happens there? What's the degree of refraction there?
How was your observation conducted? Is it a naked eye observation? Did it have a solar filter? Because what you'll find is the glare. The glare will get smaller as the sun gets closer to the horizon. So if the glare gets smaller,
circle, and it was a circle, and it was above the horizon, and it just occluded.
Yeah, well, occlusion could happen due to clouds, due to
so how do you get
haze.
How do you get your measurement there then?
Oh, what I'm
Of
talking
refraction.
about was I was saying a careful measurement of refraction under clear crystal conditions, not under some haze in the desert where you're seeing
haze in the desert,
something being occluded by something. Didn't you say you
very
worked
dry,
very
dry
desert?
air?
Okay, but what I'm talking about is if you go to the beach where you've got an ocean horizon
in wet air,
you have crystal clear conditions where it's a nice clear day. You are funny. Oh my goodness, you're funny.
I'm not trying to be funny. You're telling me that so you're telling me that you can measure refraction, but the only way to measure refraction is a difference from the globe. So how are you?
No,
that's the whole point. That's why we're going
refraction. I never mentioned the globe.
That's why we're going around in circles. Well, you need it because you're saying this is what we should observe, and we don't observe it. So therefore, it must be this amount of refraction because this is what we're observing.
Never said that. Now you're changing the subject.
That's how it has to be.
How this topic happened was you said curvature has never been measured, and I said I've actually seen 8 inches of curvature measured over 1 mile of still water.
Okay, you still haven't shown that though.
Refraction. Well, it's a YouTube video I would have to look up. But
awesome.
One of the things that's interesting about this conversation, the whole flat Earth discussion, is the rejection of the use of theodolite to measure things.
Okay, so
feel like,
all right.
You can only use it over 100.
What does the theodolite measure?
Measures angles.
Yeah. From?
Well, you could measure angles of azimuth horizontally.
Okay,
you can measure angles of
what's
elevation
theodolite
vertically.
What do they use theodolites for?
Surveying.
Yeah, and what's the max distance on the theodolite?
It does not have one.
It doesn't have one, so you can measure as far as you want through the atmosphere and get what? An angle to a refracted position or an angle to a not refracted position?
So usually you will not be sighting in on a mountain over, through 100 miles of atmosphere over water, because refraction.
100? Where's the limit? What's the limit? What do we? Do you have refraction over 10 kilometers?
Okay, so usually you have problems with long distance sightings right on the horizon over water. Okay, so everyone knows this. Everyone has observed this, and certainly surveyors know that don't take long distance sightings over water.
Yeah, you also can't take them from mountain peak to mountain peak because you have differentials in between two mountains being valleys and warm air upflows.
Yeah,
creates
well, all this stuff
distortion.
has been very
Distortion in your images. So
How
you
much
can't do it
distortion?
over water. You can't do it over
Can you
mountains
quantify
without error. What?
Can you quantify that?
It's not my claim. You're claiming that you can do. Yeah, you're claiming that you can do. You're claiming that you can do long distance. That the claim was that you can do long distance measurements with a theodolite, and it doesn't have a
Mountaintop
limit.
to mountaintop.
Right?
Mountaintop to mountaintop. Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so what comes up out of a valley?
Degree of refraction? Sure.
What comes up out of a valley in between those two mountains?
Tourists. I'm
What?
trying to make a joke. Tourists, they're trying to climb the nearest peak, but they're coming out of the valley up to the mountaintop. I'm trying to make a joke. You're supposed to laugh. But it sounds like you're making a claim that you cannot cite mountaintop to mountaintop because of error
refraction
observation. So I'm going to ask you to quantify that. That's a claim that you're making.
I'm not giving a quantification. What my argument is that you can't use theodolites over a long distance because that's not what they're made for. Because you're giving me a quantifiable. You're giving me a quantifiable measurement of over a distance where they're not used. These are building tools. They're not.
They can be used. They're used 99% of the time. Theodolites are used on a building site.
Yes,
they're used to site out highways. They're used to site out tunnels. No.
Yes, over short distances.
You think they build?
So what you do is you have a transfer. You have a transfer point.
A transfer point.
So
how does that work?
Yes. Okay, so what you do is when you get to a distance where your limitation, where your error is compounded, you have to transfer that theodolite to a different point.
Oh, right. You do not just stick a theodolite in one position and then keep it in that position for the entire duration of the project. You move your theodolite place to place. 100%, I agree with you. 100%. Yeah. But
and why do they do that? Why do they do that?
Because your precision is increased with shorter distance, of course.
Exactly. So over long distance, your precision is
one of the important things on a building site is the use of a surveying rod that has measuring stripes on it, and that becomes less useful the further away you are, which is where the manual will say, "Oh, you have a maximum effective range for finding distance using a single theodolite," and then flat earthers cite that as saying you can't use a theodolite beyond that distance. The classic.
Okay, so someone says as you get further away, the error gets more. This is in the manual, and then you say, okay, error gets more, so let's move the theodolite closer so we get a more accurate measure. And you're saying flat earthers say this, but it's in the manual. So as you move away from a point and you get further away in distance, it becomes less accurate. But you're taking measurements over 35, 40 kilometers with a tool that's not made for that. No.
When you say it gets less accurate, what gets less accurate? This is really,
the
really
accuracy of the crosshairs and the vision through the telescope.
Nope. That's not what gets less accurate.
Okay, how does it? Okay, what gets less accurate then?
Size measurement.
The angle measurement?
No, not the angle measurement. Size measurement using a surveying rod.
Yeah.
The surveying rod has painted black and white stripes on it, and you will lose sight of those black and white stripes with distance. There's some feedback. Is that feeding back into the So there are primary uses of a theodolite. The first primary use is angular measurement, like azimuth versus angle of elevation, and that has no distance limit. Second use of a theodolite is with a surveying rod that has painted black and white stripes, and by
it's called a storyboard.
I'm sorry?
Storyboard. Yep.
Oh, I've never heard that term.
Maybe
it's different in Australian. Okay, so I think in the United States it's called a surveying rod. Basically, because it's got these.
Well, it's just a stick with colors on it.
It's a little more precise than that, but in a theodolite, you'll have
measurements where they
crosshairs.
indicate the colors of the measurements. Yeah, great.
Right, but it's done in a mathematically precise way. And in the theodolite telescope,
yeah, you shoot the theodolite at it, and the crosshair gives you a line of where the measurement is on the stick, and that's the measurement. Yeah,
it's not just one line. You're missing. You're missing the point. It's not just one crosshair in the theodolite. There are several crosshairs.
I know.
I think they're called stadia lines. And if you used your stadia lines on the surveying rod, you can then estimate how far that surveying rod is away from you with just one theodolite and one measuring rod.
Wait, how far away it is from you?
How far away? It's called range finding. Right?
Yeah, that's a rangefinder. You don't get that from the measuring stick.
Theodolite, right? You could do range finding with a theodolite.
Yeah, that's fine. But what we're talking about is you getting an accurate reading over 30 kilometers with a theodolite.
You're not doing a range finding over 30 kilometers.
I'm not talking about range finding. I'm not talking about range finding. You've already admitted, dude. You've already admitted that it gets less accurate as you move away from it.
Range finding gets less accurate. That's why
we're not talking about range finding.
Okay, absolutely. But
right,
this is where.
Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to go back. All right. So on a building site, why do they keep on moving the theodolite closer to where they have to do when they transition? Why do they do that?
Because the range finding becomes more accurate.
It's got nothing to do with the rangefinder. Okay. We're just measuring levels at the moment. We're measuring levels at the moment, right? So why do they keep on moving it closer?
On the stick. You got a guy holding a measuring stick, and not only does it have painted black and white stripes, it actually has numbers on it. You can actually read those numbers.
Yes.
Okay? But you can't do it if he's a kilometer away, right? Can't do it if he's even 500 yards away.
Okay, so before you said it gets less accurate. All right. So before you said it gets less accurate as you move away. So are you still sticking to that or not?
What is it? That's the thing. The
point
is talking about range finding and being able
not
to read
range finding,
numbers.
Not range finding. We're talking about a level.
And reading numbers on a graded measuring stick or storyboard, whatever you want to call it. Right?
As you move away from the observation, does it get less accurate?
Well, you got to quantify with what it is. Does what get less accurate? Let's be precise with our language.
I'm not going to go around in circles with this guy. Someone else can talk to him. I'm done.
And if you get further away, you won't be able to read the numbers. You won't be able to see the stripes. Right?
Anyone else want to talk to him? I'm sick of. I'm getting dizzy.
I'm sorry, Timbo. But
no, you're all right, man. It's just you're going around in circles, and we're not getting anywhere. I'm not going to waste my time. Do you use these tools?
That in all long distance surveying, like for
example,
do
you use these tools?
I just answered you, so I'm not going to answer you again.
No, you cut out.
Long distance sightings with geodesy, measuring the Earth.
Do you use these tools?
I think this guy is recording himself talking only. He's not paying attention to what he's saying. Timbo.
So Timbo, when I answered you the first time, you asked me, do I use these tools? And I answered you.
Did anyone hear him?
You muted. That's why he didn't hear you. So if you could please not be a douche and answer him again.
Okay.
Do you use these tools?
Whoever muted me, ask me a question and then put me on mute. That's doesn't make any sense.
It wasn't him. I unmuted you as soon as you needed to respond. Don't worry about it, Charles. Why are you being such a douchebag today?
So normally in a conversation, Where
so normally you would just stop being a douche and just answer the question.
Mute again, because the first time I answered it, I was on
Charles,
mute.
maybe you're not paying attention because you're only hearing yourself speak. I put you on mute. He asked you a question. I unmuted you, but during the time that you were on mute, you answered the question. So he didn't hear it. So you can either be reasonable and answer the question, or you can be a douche and I'll leave you on mute. It's your choice.
So, says who? How come you put me on mute?
Because I'm tired of listening to your mouth run. He was tired of listening to your mouth run. We're all tired of it. So that's why I did it. So you can answer him or you can go on mute. You pick.
I was trying to carry.
Yeah, mute time.
This guy.
Seems to be the theme of the day, not answering anything.
No, they can't. There's nothing for them to answer anymore. They just obfuscate.
I would take that as a no. Doesn't use that tool. If that was hard for him to answer.
You could just say no. Oh, no, I don't use this, but I've read about it. I mean, what's so hard about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look, I don't use them personally, but I've got guys on site that do the surveying for me on the building sites, and every time I've spoken to them, they've got these are like $25,000 machines. They tell me that the max distance that they would ever use it as is about 3 kilometers, but they would never do that. That's what they said. Exactly what they said.
But he said they had the tool has no limitation.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. But he said as you get further away that it decreases in accuracy. So, like, doesn't it follow that as you get further away it decreases in accuracy, therefore your readings are inaccurate?
Yeah. So every time you extend a straight line segment over distance in small increments, no earth curve, you start using these theodolites, further than you should use them, where it's been proven that they're inaccurate. There's earth curve. Yeah, it's pretty retarded.
Just imagine that. So you've got these storyboards or these line boards that are used in range finding, and there's a point where there's a disillusion, right, where they all kind of blend together and it's not that accurate. So if you're gonna, let's say point that crosshair at the dirt or the soil to level it, but it begins to become disillusioned, right, or there's diffraction or refraction, you're like, I'm gonna move and get closer so my accurate reading from level to level to level rise over run. Meanwhile, I'm using the same datum per level across, hundreds of miles for a highway. I don't want to make that, I don't want to mess that up. So I'm just going to do, 100 yards, 300 yards at a time. Yeah, you lose accuracy with distance. And that's why you're not going to go from mountain peak to mountain peak, even though they really want it to be used for that purpose. Give me a break.
Yeah, your crosshair is like blocking off, 4 miles of mountaintop.
Yeah. But it's accurate, 100 miles away, I guess those crosshairs basically covering up the entire mountain peak. Yeah, that's accurate. That's a good reading.
Yeah, well, that's the other problem. As you zoom in, like the part of the mountain that's covered by the crosshair could be 10 meters. Could be over that distance. Like it's a fairly large portion. So what are you reading? The top of the crosshair, the bottom of the crosshair? What's your What are you? What are you pointing out?
You can't zoom in. You can't zoom in with them. But as I'm told, you want to like one of the guys. They want to stay pick their side, either top of the line or bottom, and stick with it. Even over the shorter distances, they want to stick. You're giving it the line. Or is it if you're going to give the line or take the line when you're cutting like a piece of wood or So they want to stay consistent.
Do you cut the line off or do you cut above the line?
For anybody that hunts, you're going to have to think about it this way. So you've got crosshairs in there, you've got a reticle in a scope, which with a much larger aperture, or let's say lens size, and magnification than a theodolite has. And you have to hold that son of a buck so steady. That's why usually you're shooting prone or off of a bench to sight it in, because at long distances, lots of magnification. The error is great with just the smallest movements. So when you're talking about a mountain that's with Jesse Path of Light that's 105 miles away, there is 0% chance that that's going to be an accurate measurement. Give me a break.
Well, listen, I just run wild with like a 332 Tomcat, and I kind of just hit the deers while running. Like a handgun style.
Sounds like what they're doing, measuring those distances. They're just running wild.
But does it not strike you guys at all odd that it always is inaccurate in a single direction?
What?
You guys said it's inaccurate, right? That means it's off the correct number. Is it always off the correct number in a particular direction, or is it random?
No, it's like Bev. Try thinking. He has this theodolite
Joe Rogan
image. I don't know if you want to call it, I guess, an image where he has the waves in the background. They appear like 15, 30 feet over his head. So you can check out that image. So it's not up or down specifically.
Wait, how do we get to Joe Rogan? I thought we were talking about Jesse Path of Light.
Here's the thing, Joe Rogan.
Clint's got a little something to say.
Hey, what I learned is there is a certain chemical that's turning the frogs gay, and what we.
Okay, wrong channel, mate.
So now back to Jesse Path of Light, right? All those measurements were off in a single direction if they're inaccurate, right?
Jesse trash picks his theodolites, dude. Like, come on. Like, no joke. He trash picks.
Okay, but they're all off in a single direction, correct?
They're all in the trash. I mean, he picked them out of the trash.
And somehow these satellites that are picked out of the trash are inaccurate in the same direction.
Somehow somebody who took a $3,000 tool and was like, this thing is fucked, and put it in the trash. He picked it out of the trash and said, this is Earth curve.
And so the measurements are all inaccurate in a single direction.
That's 100% correct. They're all off in the same fashion that you would expect when, diffraction and the Rayleigh criteria start to take effect. Yeah, 100%.
Why would that happen?
Well, that's because you guys hijack perspective and, optical effects and call it Earth curve. So what did he do? Oh, he just hijacks the optical effects and the refraction and, the perspective and calls it Earth curve. So it'd be 100% consistent.
So if I take a pole that I measure...
now this is about polling. This is about polling now.
I'm trying to get to your question about perspective. I was responding directly to what you said.
Like a story poll.
You take a poll. Let's talk about what's empirical.
No, he means I think he means a pole, like a stick in the ground, I think.
Oh, right? Sorry, I thought you were talking about a survey. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. No, I didn't mean a survey. Sorry. Okay. No, a pole, P-O-L-E. Yeah, a stick in the ground. And it was 6 foot away. And I set up a theodolite at 6 foot. It's going to be at 0 degrees elevation, right? Have I pointed it?
No.
Why not?
Well, because at 6 foot, you have an angular size reduction. That's what theodolites do.
Oh, the top of it.
They measure angular size change.
No, they don't. They measure this. They measure.
Yeah, they compensate for angular size change, and they measure angle. It's not just the fact that level to level. It doesn't work that way.
They're not measuring the size of anything.
There's
right?
tables.
They're measuring to a point.
Okay. So at 6 feet, is it apparently going to be at the same height no matter what?
Yeah. Well, no. Let's just speak clear. So if I have a point on a pole that's 6 foot off the ground, and it's we can even put it above a lake, and I have set my theodolite, in the same water 6 feet above that lake, and if I point my theodolite at that point on the pole or on the stick that is 6 foot high, my theodolite should register 0 degrees elevation, right? If I'm like
on water,
5 feet from it.
Are you going to set it up on water?
Yeah, you can put the legs in the water. I mean, if it's an inch of water, right, it's not a big deal.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I have the legs of the theodolite in the water, an inch of water, and I measure 6 foot above that water, and I have this pole 5 feet away from me. That also measures 6 foot out of the water. If I take that theodolite and I point it at that mark on the pole that is 6 foot above the water, I should get 0 degrees elevation, right?
How far away?
5 foot.
Because
pretty damn close.
Oh, it's just 5 feet away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so if it's 10 feet away, what should my elevation measure?
I have no idea. I haven't done this. Give me an example of what you're talking about.
What do the laws of perspective tell us?
Well, do you think perspective is going to work over 10 feet, or?
Yeah, sure.
It should.
My understanding of the laws
Definitely.
of perspective is that if you put it 10 feet away, it should still be 0 degrees elevation. If you put 20 feet away, it should be 0 degrees elevation. You put 30 feet away, it should be 0 degrees elevation.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're definitely the same in an orthographic view. Are we doing the orthographic?
We're looking at the theodolite. I thought the example.
Yeah, and a theodolite is not an orthographic view.
Okay, what should the angle change then? What would you
I
expect?
have no idea. I would like to talk to a
You just mentioned
surveyor,
laws of
not you.
perspective, man.
Yeah, that's the whole point. Is that once how many different effects do you have to deal with? I just want to see how much you know about theodolites. How many different effects do you have to compensate for using a theodolite? Do you know how many?
Oh, we're talking about laws of perspective right now.
Yeah, I know, but that's just one thing. Right.
And I just want to understand I want to know what you guys know about the laws of perspective.
How many different things are involved in perspective?
Distance and angle.
Distance and angle. So you're saying that things change in angular size with distance?
Angular size meaning one end of the object to the other, yes. Because those 2 points will come to the vanishing point. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Okay, what else? What else is involved in perspective? That's just one thing.
That's pretty much it.
That's all? Just angular size. So it is like orthographic view in your mind. Just one thing. So there's no refraction then, I guess.
We're not talking about refraction or perspective.
So I just want to know from this point forward, Scott, that we don't deal with refraction at long distance observations. I just want to make sure.
We're talking about the laws of perspective. There's nothing about refraction and laws of perspective.
Because refraction has to do with how you perceive things, does it not?
Refraction does affect how you see things in the real world, correct?
Okay, so how much refraction we're dealing with? That's 2 things.
Well, I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
No. Do you?
No clue.
And so if we move this pole 30 feet away.
How much refraction are we dealing with, by the way? What in this scenario? I just want to know.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's a bad example. If you don't have the data for me and what kind of refraction that we're dealing with, kind of a stupid example, don't you think?
And so you guys have no expectations about what you want to see in the world, right? So anything.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I said. Right? I don't have any expectations about what I should see.
You just told me that. It's literally,
no, I didn't.
Literally what you said.
Is that what came out of my mouth? I have no expectations.
When I asked what should the elevation be, you said you don't know. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I know. Your scenario is missing a lot of information, Scott.
So you don't know.
Neither do you, apparently. I would like a better scenario. Let's take something like, like for real. Do you have anything for real? So we can go through how much refraction, angular size change at distance, optical drop, all that stuff. I want to go through it all with you. Do you have an example that we could do that?
Angular size and optical drop are not in part of my scenario because the thing stays at 6 foot. So there's no optical drop. I don't even know what you mean by that.
So 6 foot.
Can we all?
Yes.
Can we all agree the farther you go, the more likely it's not going to hit on the 6 foot mark? Can we all just agree to that?
Why?
Well, you yourself said that. And the farther you have to look, obviously, the more factors are going to be in the equation. You think it's going to be just as accurate at 5 feet as it is a kilometer?
Why wouldn't it be?
There you go. Because you think it's an orthographic view. You think it's purely mathematical. You don't account for anything else.
What do you guys account for?
We're not using it for this purposes. Only you guys are taking the theodolites and using them beyond their limits and not counting all the refraction, the optical drop, the angular size change, the humidity on that day. You're not accounting for any of that stuff.
Okay, so we're back to not being able to know anything then.
That's perfect, Scott. If that's what you need, if that's the answer that you want to use today to help you through this situation, then I want you to use that.
No, I claim to know things. You guys claim to not be able to know anything. Yes.
No, nobody ever claimed here not to know anything. I just know not to make claims about things I don't know about. Like, let's take a scenario where we're using in a situation where none of the data has been given. Let's take Jesse path of light, for instance. How much refraction? How much optical drop? How, angular size change expectations. And then, of course, any of the weather involved in that day, the magnification.
None of those things are real.
None of those things. So refraction doesn't exist. Optical drop doesn't exist.
Optical drop not a thing. No.
How about angular size change? Does that exist?
Angular size is irrelevant to a theodolite reading.
Irrelevant. Really?
Irrelevant. You measure the angle to a point.
So earlier when Trent was talking about the angular size of the lines on the board, that they were too small to actually get a decent range. So he was wrong about that.
I have no idea, but I know that angular size has.
So diffraction doesn't exist.
Angular size does not apply to a theodolite reading. We are reading a point.
Oh, you're reading a point.
Size. That's all we do. Yes.
Okay. So the point is at the same elevation, 6 feet above the flat plane that the theodolite is on.
Sure. We can call that.
Okay. So this is a flat Earth then.
And if the Earth were flat, what would we expect when we put that pole 30 feet away? I think we should expect to see it.
You just told me at 6 feet that we don't have any drop, so why would there be drop at 30 feet?
This is what we would measure, right? And this is what we would test.
It's the same plane that they're both on. You said they're level.
Yes, and if it were flat, we would expect to see 0 degrees elevation when we put the pole at 6 foot, right? At 30 feet, right? That's what we would expect.
Isn't that what you see?
On a flat plane. Would we expect to see that?
I don't know. I guess so. That's probably at 30 feet. Then it shouldn't. Well, I mean, if you're going to say the angular size change doesn't exist,
I didn't say about angular size. Yeah.
Huh?
It's irrelevant. Angular size is irrelevant to surveying.
So this is an orthographic view.
I have no idea. There's not a view of anything. You're looking at through a theodolite, measuring the angle to a point.
Yeah, it's purely mathematic. They're both on the same plane. There's no drop at 30 feet.
Okay, and what happens if we found a drop? What would we say?
Can you give me an example instead of your hypothetical? Can you do this?
No, this
why don't we actually use what I'm going to do right now, Scott, because I hate this with you. You only deal in hypotheticals, so I want you to give me an example of what you're talking about, and I want you to get like a professional surveyor in here so we can deal with this, not me and you, because you don't know shit, and I don't know shit about theodolites.
Yeah.
I know you don't know anything about theodolites. So you give me an example, and we'll talk to somebody who knows better about this than both of us. Can you do that?
No, I can't.
Okay, well then shut the fuck up.
Guys, we take these measurements in the real world through planar surveying. And only until after the fact of geodetic surveying, it measures flat. That's why you have geodetic surveying in the first place, to apply the curve. So we actually have real world examples. in our surveys. You butt them all up together and it measures flat. You don't get the curvature. That's the problem.
How do you know that?
That's the whole point of geodetic survey. They take the numbers and they shrink all the measurements just a little bit to apply a curve to it.
It's not true.
It is true.
It isn't.
It's 100% true.
You think you can find a geodetic survey to tell you that?
I can, actually.
Okay, bring him in.
Hold on, bro. Amazon, hold on, bro. Scott, knock this shit off. You bring examples, you bring data, you bring people. Just no more of the games, dude. I'm not in the mood today.
You're never in the mood, man. What's the difference?
Oh, well, then, break for you, right?
Hey, Scott, can I ask you a question?
No, he's going to go bye-bye.
Oh.
He's 100% wrong on the geodetic surveying. So, there's that.
He's 100% wrong. He couldn't have an honest conversation if he tried.
If we got a working flat Earth model yet.
Wait. Why is it always Seattleites? Like, shouldn't you be able to do the same thing with like a laser beam? You know what I mean? Like shoot it over Lake Michigan and then bam, it's higher on the other side. Like I've never heard of a Seattleite like until I joined this Discord server, but it's like every dude thinks like Seattleites are just designed as this like unattainable smoking gun to disprove the flat Earth. You know what I mean? I just don't understand. Like,
it's tool abuse.
Is everyone else? Am I the only one who like has never heard of it? Like, does everyone know what a Theodolite is?
Yeah, a survey.
Yeah, if you've been in this game long enough, you know what a Theodolite is.
If you've been on a survey, have you seen people on the side of the road with like a tripod, and they're looking down the road?
Yeah. No, I know what it is now.
Oh yeah.
I've seen those guys before. I've never known what the name of the device they used was.
Yeah, they also use them in artillery, but they call it a slightly different name, an aiming circle. So yeah, all is done in the flat stationary Earth. To get them, like the Earth to curve, they add the curve into it later on.
They quite literally do that. They have tables that they literally apply to the measurements, and they call it geodetic surveying, which basically means we take the surveyor's measurements on the ground because there is no Earth curve, and we just make it up. That's how it works.
Yeah, they apply it to the GS84, is it?
and I don't know who this guy is, but when he looks into it, he's going to realize that's exactly what happens. Always,
he's not going to look into it.
Annoying.
No, the truth is, you guys don't know what you're talking about. Surveyors
measure
Kelly. All day.
Yeah, tell us how.
All day long. They measure a not horizontal surface of Earth.
Okay, Kelly, can you
stop lying? Okay, don't lie.
Kelly, can you please show us what you're talking about?
It's in every single survey ever.
Okay, can you please show us what you're talking about?
You remember the last time I posted a bunch of citations to surveys and no one looked at them?
Yeah, you posted a 972-page document.
Oh, did you look at it?
And you couldn't point anything out.
Denying the data shows that the surface
point
of Earth is not horizontal.
Maybe you could reference something from that document that we could look at.
Directly contradicts the claim that was just made that it measures to be horizontal. It doesn't, according to that survey.
Okay, can you show us what?
All geodetic surveys are measurements are made after the fact of the planar survey. The surveyor on the ground. True or false? All geodetic measurements are taken after the fact of the surveyor on the ground. True or false?
No, it's not the correct term. Like, the correct term is the calculation after the survey is taken.
Fair enough. It is a calculation from the measurement on the ground, which measures flat, actually.
Right. So Callie's going to try to just elephant hurl today. I threw a 900-page document in here that I definitely didn't read, and now I'm going to make a baseless assertion about it.
Yep. And can't point out where it's.
All you have to do is look at it, dude. Just look at the data.
Read 900 pages.
Okay.
So obviously you've read it, so you can point out where it talks about what you're claiming. Which page are we looking at?
Yeah, citation, please.
Guess you don't have one.
Look, I understand you're lazy and you want flat Earth to be real, but all you have to do is read some citations.
It's not me being lazy.
That's
it's
all you have to do. Stop
you
sitting
making
there
a claim
pretending
and
like
then
it says what you're saying.
Okay, so it's you making a claim.
What you're saying. Just read the data.
It's you making a claim and then showing us something, a 970-page document, and then pointing out where your claim is substantiated. That's all we're after. You made the claim. I'm not going to read your 970-page document. Just point out where it is. So you're not going
what's his claim? What is the claim here?
That surveyors every day and every surveyor measures curvature. That's what his claim is.
That every surveyor measures curvature. Is that what his claim is?
That's his claim.
Well, that's just preposterous.
It's not preposterous. Have you actually read the manual for the yellow lights? Have you read the surveyor's manual?
Can you point out? All right, can you point out where?
Why are you responding to my question with the question?
He's a bot. All right, so you said in the manuals, this is what it says. Can you point out where that is?
I will do that when you answer my question.
Well, how am I going to answer
the answer to the question is no, we have not read the manuals. We're asking you to support the claim that you just made. So go get us the citation. Just get us the citation, bro. We haven't read it. Bro, we haven't read it. This is a burden of proof reversal fallacy where you're going to say, because I say affirmatively this is the case, then I guess that's just going to be what's true until somebody rebuts it. And that's not how it works. So you're going to go ahead and get the citation that we're looking for, or you're just going to stay on mute. Do you want to go get ahead and get the citation?
In here, like they're going to run out of people, surely, right?
I want him to clarify this claim here.
Well, we haven't.
So when you say all surveyors,
we haven't run out of. Yeah, we haven't run out of people yet, dude. So all you need to, you came in and you said all the manuals tell us that they measure curvature. So can you just provide that? Because none of us have read it. Go ahead.
I think what he's saying is all surveyors submit their measurements to the NOAA, the Geodetic Surveying Government Agency. Yeah, they do that, if that's what he's trying to say. But on the ground, they don't measure curvature.
No, he said in the manuals of theodolites, it says they measure curvature. So I'm just waiting for him to, I'm just waiting for him to post that.
Can't wait, really. It's going to be exciting.
Is he gone? I think he's gone. All right. It's another one. Baseless assertion fallacy.
I don't really even understand what he was trying to say. Like every surveyor on every survey, or any surveyor who's been in the business long enough will know. I don't even really understand what he was trying to say, to be honest with you.
He said every surveyor every day on every survey measures curvature.
Measures curvature. Okay, well that's obviously preposterous.
Whether they know it or not.
He obviously went to get his list of all his buddies that are surveyors. He's coming back. Coming back with the proof, man. Just give him a minute.
Can't wait.
I see what she means. It's like saying every atheist actually believes in God. They don't, whether they know it or not.
What? How does that work?
Terrible analogy.
Because if you press an atheist, like, where did the Earth come from? They'll be like, oh, the Big Bang. Where did the Big Bang come from? Oh, energy. Where did the energy come from? At some point, they say like they don't know. They have to like bend that there was something that caused it all, right?
So so what you're saying is every atheist believes in a supernatural phenomena.
Every atheist is agnostic. They haven't decided like that it's, this God or that God, but they believe in this, this causal energy. They call it energy. This primordial soup, they call it, that existed, at some point. That's God. They just haven't defined it,
Now, the primordial goop is the sludge of the coalescence of all of the elements on the ancient ball Earth billions of years ago, and that's where the proteins all, somehow magically came together and formed the first amoeba, struck by lightning or some shit.
Part of what you said was right. The rest of it is all mixed up. No, they believe the primordial soup was just energy only.
I send you 1,000 papers.
Yeah.
That means what I say is true.
Yep. Even if the papers don't say what he said it says.
I was just going to send a whole bunch of Dr. Seuss papers to you and just hopefully you liked them. And then be like, that's what I said. Yep, it's true.
Yeah, but you haven't read it, Demok.
No, I didn't read his Dr. Seuss papers. Because there's too many.
Go ahead.
Reading one setting on the phone. My eyes ain't that good. I'm walking in the sun. I'm trying to look, trying to get me something from the store. He wants us.
It really is. It's as simple as if there were curvature, they would not need to manipulate the data. It is that simple. It's no more complicated than that.
Yeah, they'd have a video and where we could go to the address and do the same thing. That's what they'd have.
Well, it's not even that. I could just go take normal surveys, just any old survey, and I could butt them up together and go, okay, there's your curvature. There it is. Over a length of a span of enough enough land, it would show in the measurements. It doesn't.
Dude, everybody be seeing it all day long at the beach. They be taking pictures of the hump. The hump, 3 miles. The 3 mile hump. People be hanging out at the hump, talking about the hump. They be going behind the hump, coming back from the hump, doing the Humpty Hump. They be freaking just doing it.
I'll do the Humpty Hump.
No, you don't see the hump 2 millimeters from the beach ball, though.
Yeah, I think obviously that if it were true, there would be so much evidence of it. I think that's probably the biggest problem with it. You would see it, at least from an airplane, somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, everybody with a boat, you're right, would be going out to this geometric, physical location and be like, this is about where I'm going to start disappearing. All right, everybody, wave goodbye, and then just keep going out to sea. And 3 miles.
They did it once with the helicopter, National Geographic, but they doctored that too.
No side view.
Yeah, they doctored that one too.
They need a side view.
I have a feeling our buddy's not going to come back here, show us this survey document that we're all very excited to read.
The correction for curvature is an important correction applied to leveling and surveying to account for the curvature of the Earth. The formula for correction for curvature is given as CC equals 0.07849, where D is distance between 2 points in kilometers and CC is in meters. Correction for curvature, straight line curvature calculations in surveying.
Maybe you could say correction a few more times there, Timbo. That'd be great.
Yeah, I had to get my point across.
Correct. We're really on the fucking ball. So
Yeah, it's correction because the initial measurement presumes horizontality, elevation above
Why would
zero.
you presume that?
When you presume that all coordinates are above zero, you get incorrect distances. Therefore, they make corrections using spherical excess. I'm asking. Get a clue.
So all of your Earth
Do you get it?
Right.
Do you get it, or are you just dumb?
السلام عليكم كيف حالكم يا شباب؟
Yeah.
What?
Do you get it?
Yeah, they take straight line measurements
You
and
don't
they
get
put a
it.
curvature and they put a curvature calculation on it to make it into a sphere.
No,
Yes, I get it.
Stop repeating the stupid mantra that directly contradicts what they observed in the data. Okay, your
So do you
mantra's
take
wrong.
a straight line?
It's
Do
just
you
wrong.
take a straight line measurement or not?
A line of sight. Yeah, a line of
Yes,
sight.
line of sight. Is that a straight line?
That doesn't mean that the Earth is a line. Dumbass.
Okay, so
Yeah, a line of sight doesn't mean that the ground is flat. You know what a non sequitur is?
How do you get a curve from a line of sight measurement?
Do you know what a non sequitur is?
How do you get a curve from a straight line?
How do you get a horizontal surface of Earth from a line of sight? You're an idiot. What are you talking about?
That wasn't
You
my
can have
claim.
a line of sight with any topography. Okay, I could stand on a mountain, look over a fucking canyon, and have a line of sight. So what are you talking about?
So what they do is they take a line of sight and they add in an
Freaking dumb,
equation
dude.
to take it down to a curve. Is that correct? Or
I
not?
was just so angry.
Blah, blah,
I was
blah.
so angry.
Yeah, Cal,
I was so angry.
Why are you losing your mind out? But you gotta relax, bro.
Stupid ass bitch. Shut up.
No,
Jeez. Holy
you're free to get muted, bro.
Are you familiar with
I don't
Rise
give a
Over
fuck about
Run?
getting muted by these dummies. You can worry about that. I don't give a fuck.
What a douche.
Bro, you have some
Doesn't
information
get
to
it.
share. I think they
Shut
can
the fuck up, Rob. I'm not following your way. You got some dumb way of behaving around here. I don't fucking care about that.
This is good radio. Hey, Callie, you're doing a great job for all the Globers out there, man. You're showing them how all the integrity, how calm you can be, your good argument skills. You're doing great.
Bro,
You guys are idiots. I don't give a fuck what
in his
you're
name.
There you go. You're calm. You're composed.
You guys are hostile 24/7, and you trying to tell other people to be composed? You guys are
No,
always
it's 24/7 flat Earth.
You're
It's
all
not
about
hostile
your
24/7. You've got it
Yeah,
different.
you guys are hostile, non-stop hostile. Yes.
Who's hostile? Right now, it seems like it's Globe Earth hostile 24/7.
I was about to say, listen.
Probably because you guys are
24/7
annoying
hostel is a nice place to stay at
and
if you're
don't
traveling.
understand common sense and geometry.
Yeah, no, I mean, just relax. Callie, brother. So just
I'm not
walk
your
me
brother.
through this. So you level your tool, right? The theodolite. So how do you do that?
Who am I talking to? Who is this idiot?
It says so.
It says who?
You level your walk me.
Can you find someone? Can you find someone clever? Because
So you level your tool, then what, dude? What do you think is happening?
I'm asking you, how do you level it?
Are you asking how to find level? Are you insane?
Ask Rick Sand.
Yeah, I mean, you're the guy that brought it in the 900-page document. You must know what you're talking about. So, how do you do it?
Auto levels. It's an auto level.
What a dumb question. Why don't you address what I actually said?
Level.
Which
How does the auto level work?
Surveyor's initial presumption is that all points of elevation are above zero, mean sea level, right? When you go to find the distances between your coordinates, they're all incorrect. You don't get triangles. You can't do the Pythagorean theorem with the coordinates.
So they don't measure triangles.
Yeah, let's go from
You don't
the.
get
Let's go
it.
from the.
They don't measure triangles.
All right.
You said the initial presumption is that
it's flat. Yes.
it
Like,
does
why don't you
measure
go find me a
flat.
surveyor that presumed the Earth to be flat, got all the coordinates, and made a map? Where's that? The only flat
Why
map
are there
you got is
presumptions in the first place?
a globe.
No model needed.
That's. Do you know what a non sequitur is, Kelly? Do you know what a non sequitur is? Right. So let's not do that. Right. Let's not go. Why don't you find a flat earther that's a surveyor? No, we're not going to. That's non sequitur, bro. So, anyways,
you would have to go
the leveling process. Yeah, I know this is non sequitur. Let's start from the beginning here. Do you not want to do that? Is that dangerous for you? Are you not confident?
Surveyor, if I paid you.
So now you just want to talk about people, right? You just want to talk about people and not the topic.
Hold on. I'll give you $100 if you can find a real surveyor in the field.
Oh boy! So we're going to talk about people.
I'll post a link right now with an interview of a surveyor with over 30 years of experience. That's a flat earther. How about that?
He ran away. It's kind of like the kids that don't get the spanking, when they grow up. So they're grown men now, and they come in here, and the spanking that they get is being muted or kicked out. That's what he wanted, and he got it, and now he's gone.
You like to be the one to do the spanking, don't you?
You know I do. You know I do.
Giant homo.
Why is it homosexual to spank?
That is an interesting way he phrased that when he said the presumes that it's not flat, which is quasi true. That most surveyors that go out there think that they do indeed they are measuring for curvature, and that they need this geodetic surveyor to manipulate the data.
Because they're indoctrinated.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Caleb's back. Hey, Caleb, can you tell me how they level that tool?
Which tool? I'm sorry.
The theodolite.
I don't know what that is.
It has a leveling mechanism inside of it.
Oh.
How does the leveling mechanism?
Okay, and how does that work?
The Wraith took you at the end there. What?
How does that work?
I'm not sure exactly.
So there's some kind of device inside the theodolite that auto levels it, but you don't know how that works.
Yeah, here, let me just read it quickly. Because I don't know. But it says it uses a swinging prism, part of an internal compensator mechanism that, when set close to level, automatically removes any remaining variation. This reduces the need to set the instrument base truly level, as with a dumpy level. Self-leveling instruments are the preferred instrument on building sites construction and during surveying, due to ease of use and rapid setup time.
Okay. So it's level, and it's using a level datum to measure rise over run at distances. So it's measuring heights above a level horizontal plane. Interesting.
That's correct.
Okay. Well, that's all I needed.
And to be clear, rise over run does not include curvature. Those are straight lines.
You have to correct for curvature.
After the fact.
That's what
after it's measured. After it's measured flat, then they correct for curvature. That is correct.
Correct.
But on the ground.
Yes.
It's not that after they measure flat. It measures like with a flat station. That's yeah. What it does is it just like it projects the horizontal line, and then it'll tell you your elevation from there.
Your elevation above what?
Your altitude, I should say.
Yeah, your altitude above what?
Well, above the horizontal line.
So if we're taking elevations, we're taking them from a sea level reading, right?
Well, I don't know what that.
So all elevation angle profiles are taken from mean sea level.
I don't know if it uses mean sea level or if it just refers to the horizontal plane that it projects.
things like being able to use cartography and measure the elevation angle profiles to things like mountains and hills and stuff. Always taken down to a mean sea level reading ultimately.
Yeah, that's why they have datum points.
Yeah, but I think specifically with theodolites and these types of things, I think they measure the altitude.
No, they don't.
With respect to the reference, the horizontal plane that it makes.
The only thing they do is measure angles. That's it.
Yeah, but if you know the distance to the thing, then you have an altitude from the angle. I guess to be
but it doesn't.
They calculate the altitude.
Yeah.
And they measure the angle.
Right line.
That distance would be a linear distance as well.
Yeah, it treats it as like a flat Earth. Because it's 2D, what's called? Cartesian coordinates.
You do? What?
Old boy says, if you mute me, you'll run out of people to talk to. No, he won't.
This channel survives off you, man.
Yeah, no, we won't. And watch, you'll leave on your own accord. We don't like somehow. No, don't leave. No.
Are there any globers are there any flat earthers who don't believe in a creator?
Yeah.
Not.
Flat Earth is going to be a wide swath of the population. It's going to cut through every age, every demographic, every identity. Now, if you ask the same questions to people on the globe side, you'll get 100% results. Like the astronauts. 100% of the astronauts are Christian conservatives. There isn't any atheist astronauts. There isn't any left-wing, like hippie, whatever. They are all fundamental religious conservatives. 100%. So when you try to demograph or try to say, hey, the problem with flat earthers is they're overly religious, that's actually the astronauts. They're overly religious. Not just the astronauts, mind you, though. All of NASA is this way. The current director of NASA says he's personally spoken to God. And God told him to come out of retirement to lead America back to the moon. Okay, you won't hear flat earthers say something so like, if I could try to think of something more blasphemous than that, I wouldn't come up with one.
My answer would be that typically flat earthers are generally more religious than the general population because there's no naturalistic explanation for the world existing as a flat earth. There's no non-religious story other than the creator created.
No naturalistic view on the Big Bang Theory either.
Yeah, that's the globe. You got it wrong again. That's the globe. When they came up with Big Bang, God did it. That's their cause. Their cause is God. It's a Catholic Church creation myth.
What I mean by naturalistic story is something like, if you just have the laws of physics and you throw matter in empty space, then the laws of physics and gravity slowly clump together the sun and slowly clump together the earth and cause rotation and all that type of stuff. So that's a story that some people say doesn't require God.
Doing that. Where do things do that?
Well, I don't believe that. I'm just saying that there's a naturalistic story. And so if you're an atheist, you can tell yourself that story. If you're an atheist, there's not much story you can say about how the earth would be flat.
Yeah, the atheist doesn't know. The universe is eternal.
No, that's agnostic. I'm talking about...
the atheist is like... The Big Bang was a knock. They originally thought it was like funny, ha-ha. Let's make fun of the Catholic Church.
So that answer your question?
I mean, the Earth being eternal, like
the whole universe.
How do we get a flat Earth with the Earth being eternal, or even the universe being eternal?
Non sequitur.
If it's not itself a divine being, which is a different thing.
Well, let's try again. Okay, if your hang up is that you think this group of people over here are especially wrong because they're especially religious, that's NASA. They got religion. They shut down the JPL for religious exemptions. Now we're not going to go into the topic of what that is, but you can look up yourself. They closed the doors.
Well, maybe he's asking a different question. Are you asking about people being religious or people simply believing that a creator exists?
Well, from my point of view, my perspective, I'm a Christian, and I don't see any curvature, so no one has. So I'm a flat earther. To me, there's not really any other explanation for a flat Earth other than a divine creator.
Globe too. This is why, as a flat earther, do not go into that topic. If you go into that topic, they got you. Because on the globe side, they say exactly the same thing, and they've got all the astronauts up the wazooie to back it up. You've got the current director of NASA telling you he's personally spoken to God. God came down from the sky and said, check this out, Bill. I got a mission for you. Will you answer the call of the Lord? And he's like, certainly. I could do that. I'm going to grant America a return to the moon. Just tell everyone who told you to do it. No problem, Bill. Or no problem, God, said Bill. I will make sure that America knows that God is on her side.
Well, one thing, as a Christian, I don't believe God audibly speaks to people anything outside of what Scripture already says, so that's a different... To me, that's kind of off.
Well, you also, if you want something else too, there's a book they wrote last year about Space Jesus. You could read a book about how the astronauts found Space Jesus.
Before I forget, what I was going to say is the Bible claims, in one way or another, that creation reveals God. It reveals that they're the creator. If you have a globe, you can say, oh, it's the Big Bang. You don't need a creator. Therefore, flat Earth, you need a creator. So, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm getting at there?
Well, any creation, you need a creator, don't you?
True. But, you know, the Big Bang, apparently you don't.
Big Bang.
So.
Millions of years ago. Talking about that.
Basically, what I'm just saying is, like, if you believe in flat Earth, there's not many.
Yeah, you don't need the Bible. If you believe in flat Earth, you don't need the Bible. You can just use science, logic, and reason. Don't go there. If you go into biblical as a flat earther, you're handing the debate, the discussion over to the globe side, because they've got the Catholic Church. They got all these experts.
Peter, you have to acknowledge a creator if the Earth is flat.
Because why?
Because there's no other option.
Right.
Because why?
Why?
Why is that?
Because if the Earth is flat, the mere existence of the Earth being flat requires there to be a creator, because there's no natural explanation for it. There's no non-creator explanation for it.
Because the Bible said so you gotta make it even?
No, it's because there's no explanation.
Because
no one has come up with one. What are you talking about?
Explanation of what, though?
Explanation of how the Earth came to be.
What if it was always here?
I don't think anybody believes that these days because of the second law of entropy and stuff like that. So I suppose that could be an answer, but I don't think anybody uses that.
Oh, well. I just used it. What if it was always here?
It's not, because of the second law of entropy shows that it would have run down by now if we had crossed an.
That'd be a supernatural world. You fucked up. You mixed your natural and supernatural.
Yeah, that's a good point. So an eternal world would be supernatural, even just by itself.
I mean, you guys can do what you want, but I'm saying as a flat earther, you gotta stay away from the Bible shit. Because Bible shit, not as like the Bible shit, but just that inside a biblical discussion, you've got globe tards saying flat earthers are demonically possessed. That's what you're facing.
Well, that's a bit much. I don't know anybody who says that, but if they do, they're wrong about that.
Well, I posted the verses where it kind of talks about creation, reveals need for a God, and as a Christian, we have to believe the Bible is true, and there can be no error. So, for this verse to be true, creation needs to have a creator. So, therefore, there's no option for being and not having a creator. Just So, I mean, I guess you could be a flat earther and not believe the Bible, but if you believe the Bible and you say, oh, there could be a globe, at the end of the day...
It's two separate discussions. You can be a flat earther and have any religious or supernatural ideas.
Yeah,
you don't need the Bible for that.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yep, you're right.
Yeah, you can just go based on evidence.
That's it. That's all you need.
Yeah.
No Bible needed. Now the globe side, they kind of need that because without it, they're looking at a logically inconsistent worldview.